Hello dear friends and welcome back to my session. My name is Dr. Priya Singh and I am Assistant Professor, Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Jamia Millia Islamia. In my last session, I discussed about the hierarchy of food and beverage department. And today, we will be discussing further about the sections and functions of food and beverage department. So, we will first discuss about the sections of the department. As we know, F&B service department is responsible for maintaining the high quality of food and service, food costing, managing restaurants, bars, etc. Food and beverage service is the service of food made in the kitchen and drinks prepared in the bar to the customers or the guest. Food and beverage premises which can be restaurants, bars, hotels, airlines, cruise ships, trains, companies, schools, colleges, hospitals, prisons, takeaway, etc. The food and beverage outlets can further be divided into the following categories like restaurants. Restaurants are the places where food and drinks can be served to the guest. There are various types of restaurants, for example, all-day dining restaurants. They are usually called coffee shop or cafe in hotels. They are usually big in size with many covers compared to any other restaurants in the same hotel. The main reason why they are called all-day dining restaurant is because of their hours of operation, as they are open for breakfast in the morning, to lunch in the afternoon, to dinner in the evening. Next we have fine dining restaurants. Fine dining restaurants are characterized by their elaborative and exclusive menu with special emphasis on the high quality food they serve. The emphasis is on fresh ingredients and natural flavors or on the type of cuisine served or at times both. Usually, the operation of this restaurant revolves around the head chef or chef de cuisine of this outlet. Then we have other category, that is specialty restaurants. They are restaurants which usually have a type of national or regional character or cuisine attached to them. For example, Italian specialty restaurant, Chinese specialty restaurants, etc. In some hotel, they do sometimes have multi-cuisine restaurants also, which literally means that the restaurant serves cuisine from more than one country, or the dishes on the menu of the restaurant has its food specialities from many different countries. Apart from this, we have lounges. Now what is lounge? Lounge can be found in different hotels. Their main purpose is to offer food and drink in comfortable and cozy seating in relaxed surroundings. There are many kinds of lounges, ranging from a lounge in a lobby, cocktail lounge, cigar lounge, executive and club lounge on special floors. Then further we have a bar. As we all know, a bar is a place where drinks are served. There is usually a small snacks menu too. This service is fast and quick. There are various kinds of bar, ranging from formal bars to club bars, pubs, pool bars, wine bars, cocktail bars, beach bars, even we have juice bars and many more. We also have in the hotel an F&B outlet which is known as discotheque or nightclub. They are outlets where music and entertainments take the priority with food and drink. The operation is very fast and the guest numbers are large. Security is an important aspect of these operations. Music and entertainment can range from DJ to playing of live bands. Then further, we have the very important sector, that is room service or in-room dining, which is also called as IRD. Room service, it is the service of food and drink in the guest rooms in a hotel or a resort. Here food is served to guests in their allotted rooms of the hotels. Small orders are served in trays and major meals are taken to the room on trolleys. The guest places his order with the room service order taker. The waiter receives the order and transmits the same to the kitchen. Meanwhile, he prepares his tray or trolley. He then goes to the cashier to prepare and take the bill. He then takes the bill along with the food order for the guest, signature or the payment. Usually, clearance of soiled dishes from the room is done after half an hour or an hour. However, the guest can telephone room service for the clearance as and when he has finished with the meal. There are also another outlets which are known as meeting and conference rooms. They come under the banquet section and conference section of the hotel. They are great source of revenue in food and beverage department, usually in the corporate and city hotels. Like MICE, meetings, incentives and conferences, exhibitions can alone bring much revenue to some hotels in comparison to other outlets in the hotel. At the last, we have banquets. These are large function rooms that are primarily used for functions and wedding. The staffing ratio of full-time staff in this section is very less, as the function and wedding business can sometimes be seasonal and extra staff is usually filled in by the use of casual staff. This section is the most dynamic section in food and beverage, with the conference section, which is more physically demanding and creatively oriented. Lastly, we have a very interesting section, that is bar. It is a commercial establishment where the guest can be served with alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages along with variety of snacks. So these were some of the most important subsections of food and beverage department. Now we will understand about some of the general considerations for food and beverage services layout. While designing an F&B outlet, one needs to consider every factor that contributes to the smooth running of operations, right from food preparation, cooking, dish presentation, serving, and all other allied tasks. While designing commercial food and beverage outlets, the following points are necessary to be taken into account, like target customer segment, which includes youth, men, women, type of food, which is fast food or fine dining food, what is the method of preparation, that is cooking, grilling, boiling, baking or steaming, what is the type of food distribution, that is on premises or off premises, then availability of carpet area and also the number of staffs required. Now, apart from these main sections, there are also several ancillary departments or sections within food and beverage service department of a hotel or a restaurant. Before we move further, we should first understand what are ancillary departments. So, ancillary departments are service area usually acting as the link between the kitchen and the food service areas. They are always behind the scenes or back of the house. The service themselves are some of the busiest unit of a catering establishments, especially over a service period. Because of this, it is important that department heads ensure that all staff knows exactly what their duties are and how to carry them out efficiently and quickly. In general, these areas can refer to a still room or a pantry, a worship area also known as kitchen stewarding, hot plate section, linen room and stores. Now we will discuss each in detail. Still room or pantry. This is a service area whose main function is to provide items of food and beverage required for the service of meal and not catered for by any other major departments in the hotel, such as kitchen, larder and bakery. Some of the items that can be dispensed from the still room are all types of beverages such as coffee, tea, chocolate, Horlicks, etc. Assorted fruits, juices, fresh and canned, milk and cream, sugar, certain preserves like jam, marmalades, honey. They are normally pre-portioned for better control. Butter, it can be curled or pre-wrapped proportions. Sliced and buttered brown, white and malt breads. We also have croissants served from the pantry. We have Melba toast. These are cut into triangles and put on a toast rack. The sides of the sliced bread are cut off before service. Assorted breakfast cereals like cornflakes, Rice Krispies, muesli. Then we have pastries, gâteaux and sandwiches. We have porridge and boiled eggs. Now the next section is wash-up or the kitchen stewarding. The wash-up is the most important food and beverage service area and must be sited correctly or that staff can work speedily and efficiently when passing from the food service area to the kitchen. Servers should stock trays of dishes correctly at the sideboards with all the correct sized plates together and tableware. Also stacked on one of the plates with the blade of the knives running under the arcs of the forks. All glassware should be stacked on a separate tray and taken to be separate wash-up point. The wash-up point should be closer to the exit from the food service area, that is the dining room. All the food debris should be put into the bin, wet garbage bin, and all dry garbage like paper serviettes, etc. in a separate bin, that is your dry garbage bin. Then we have the section which is hot plate. The hot plate may be regarded as the meeting point between the food service of the staff and the food preparation staff, that is the food and beverage team and the kitchen team. This is a place where all the crockery required for the service will be kept warm. Care should be taken to make sure that the amounts of chinaware required are properly stacked in the hot case. In some hotels, the silver required will be placed on the top of the hot plate and used as required. Normally, an éboueur or a baker is in charge and controls the hot plate over the service periods. The hot plate is usually gas or electricity operated and it should be lit well in advance of the service to ensure all the china and silverware are sufficiently heated. Once a dish is ready to serve, the éboueur will announce it loudly so that the respective waiter can pick it up. Once the food has been picked up, the QOT, that is your kitchen order ticket, is put into a control box which can be operated only by a member of the control department, who for control purpose makes the copy of the food check from the kitchen. Then there is one more important section, that is linen room. It keeps a stock of the various linen used in the restaurant or the outlet. Example, tablecloth, serviettes, guest napkins, slip cloth, base cloth, etc. Fresh linen is picked up by the restaurant staff in exchange of the soiled linen. Generally, it is done once a day, but it might be done more than once in case of coffee shop. A linen register is maintained on daily basis for this purpose. Also, few more sections of the F&B department can be like store. Storeroom is the food and beverage service area from where the F&B service staff requisite and receives items such as grocery and stationery that are required for the smooth running of the day-to-day operation of the outlet. Then we have dispense bar. The term dispense bar is recognized to mean any bar that is situated within the food and beverage service area that dispenses only wine or other alcoholic drinks to be served to a guest consuming a meal. Now we are going to discuss the functions of food and beverage department. The food and beverage service sector contributes a great deal to the profit in hospitality industry. With the increase in the importance of business meetings, a range of personal and social events, a large number of customers visit catering establishments frequently. The food and beverage professionals tirelessly work to intensify customers' experience through their service. Apart from providing food and beverage to their consumers, the food and beverage operations have other functions in the hospitality industry. Some of the important functions are as follows. Number 1, that is purchasing food and beverages. As the primary function of the food and beverage operation is to provide food and beverage to the consumers, it is important for them to find reliable sources. First, the purchasing process involves determining which type of ingredients, food, drinks or wine, etc. should be ordered, finding and having reliable suppliers. List to ensure consistent quality and determining the suitable order size to avoid overbuy which need extra space for storage. And some of them may deteriorate or underbuy which mean can't serve the guest properly. Usually, invoices and receipts are required to be signed to facilitate the examination of any misuse or stealing. Finally, it has to design the appropriate procedures of the receiving and storing the food and beverages to prevent any wastage. For example, the wine is stored in bottles which need special care and stored in specific temperature. Second is menu planning. In the menu planning, the food preferences of consumers play a key role. A well-planned menu can stimulate the revenue and attract the consumers to come again and again. In fact, the menu planning is not just designing what cuisine or beverages should be included in the menu, but also concerns with what items will be acceptable to the consumers. As the consumers are the one to taste the food and beverages when planning menus, we have to comprehend, empathize on their food habits and enable to meet their changing preferences. For example, now consumers are more concerned about the health and nutritional values. The menu should be able to adjust to provide corresponding food item to satisfy their needs. It should be ongoing process and dynamic process since the many ingredients are seasonal and sometimes there will be shortages due to particular reasons like weather and delivery problems. So it should be designed upon the availability of the raw materials. Furthermore, the menus should match with the design and the atmosphere of the restaurants as well as the physical facilities and equipments so as to provide a superior dining experience for the guest. Lastly, the food pricing is also important as consumer will judge the prices whether it is worthwhile. It should also be designed within the available budget and enable to have the profitability against with its cost. The third important function is maintaining daily operations. The stewarding department play a supportive role for the food and beverage operations. If it doesn't perform properly and efficiently, the food and beverage division will greatly affected. The main goal of it is to optimize the assistance and service to the different F&B outlets and kitchen by maximizing efficiency and productivity while keeping the highest standards of cleanliness and hygiene. It is mainly responsible for the following functions like maintaining a cleaned and organized environment in the kitchen. Since a small error will disturb the operation in the kitchen, the stewarding department will have the proper sanitation and pest control to keep the cleanliness and organization of the environment in the kitchen, to favor the kitchen flow efficiently so everyone will know where everything is. Also, a clean cooking environment ensures the safety of consumers as the food is cooked under the clean environment. Maintaining perfect cleanliness of all service areas in food and beverage outlets is very important. The area should not be responsible by the housekeeping department. Cleanliness of glassware, china and cutlery, cleanliness of all the food and beverage stores. Providing efficient and planned preparation of all the operating equipment. It provides the necessary equipments for the upcoming functions so that they can be held successful. Maintenance of dishwashing machines. This is very important, as if the machines are out of service, the dirty dishes and utensils can't be washed, and there will be no or enough cleaned containers for the cuisines and the utensils for cooking. The operation of food and beverage must be disrupted. Forecasting the labor and cleaning supply needs. If the labor level is not too low, the efficiency and the productivity will be replaced. But if the level is too high, the labor cost will be huge. Moreover, the cleaning supply is important for sanitation and pest control for the sake of providing a clean environment in the kitchen and also in all the F&B stores. But if it is too much, an extra space is needed for the storage. The other important function is inventory of chemical stock and maintaining strict inventory control and monthly stock check. The fourth important function is food service hygiene. Hygiene is a key element for an eating joint. Reputation of a restaurant is made based on its menu and hygiene. Employees have a direct contact with food and preparation equipment. Therefore, employees should be trained to ensure that they maintain personal hygiene. Equipment hygiene should also be maintained. The cleaning area should be clean so as to ensure food service hygiene. The sink and the work surface should be cleaned before and after every use. The equipment should be sanitized and sterilized after every cleaning. These sterilized equipments need to be stored in a clean area with protection from splash, dust and contact with food. Various sanitation methods like thermal and chemical sanitation methods among others should be used. The kitchen area and dining space should be pest-free, like free from mice, cockroaches, etc. Bring negative reputation to a place because they are the carrier of many diseases as well. Hence, regular pest control methods must be undertaken so as to ensure the hygiene of food and the surroundings. The fifth important function is beverage control. Beverages refer to drinks, either alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Non-alcoholic beverages include tea, coffee, juices, shakes, aerated drinks and mineral water. The entire food service outlet usually provides non-alcoholic beverage. When we need to control the beverage, we need to consider the following factors. We need to keep the record of the suppliers and the deliveries received from them. In case there are some problems, we can chase back the sources. We need to keep the record of movement of stock between bars and restaurants so that we can balance our stock in these two places. Example, when there is a stock shortage in bars, the stock surplus can be used in restaurants immediately. This can help to reduce the cost of reorder stock, which may cause stock surplus, to prevent any shortage and surplus and cause loss to the company. Next is a seller's stock ledge. Should be kept to maintain the stock records. It can help to order stock in an effective way. When the stock level is reached and the reorder level, the company can order the stock immediately in order to prevent any shortage and surplus and cause loss to the company. The sixth important function is cost control and budgeting. There are two basic approaches to control, behavioristic approach and the traditional approach. The traditional control is the measurement of performance with that desired or deemed attainable. This is the comparison aspect of the management scheme, which is usually considered to have four parts. First, establishment of standards or goals. These can be expressed in different ways, for instance, a budget figure, a percentage figure or a performance figure, such as meal served per server per hour. Many industry standards are available for considerations by individual food service operations. Measurement of performance. There must be some means of measuring performance. Usually, it is quantitative figure such as dollar amount, percentage or standards such as meal served per server per hour that is related to the standards. Third is comparison and analysis. Once the standard or goal has been established and actual performance is determined, it is possible to compare the two. The figures will rarely be the same, and the manager must decide how much variance is acceptable and how often the comparison should be done or over what time periods. The fourth is corrective action. It is a significant variation is determined, the manager must take corrective actions. Such actions might involve more observation, personal changes, or different methods of operation, among many others. Or perhaps the standard is unrealistic and must be changed. The behavioristic approach is based on the motivation of people towards the best interest of their employer. The employers tend to have good relationship with their employees in the food service industry. Yet they feel that the need for traditional control systems is necessary. Menu pricing is another important cost control tool. According to James Kaiser, factors that need to be considered in the menu pricing include elasticity of demand, whether a change in selling price will have a significant effect on customer demand. Second is perception of value, or what a customer perceives the meal or food item is worth regardless of what it costs to produce. Effect of competition, by which competition can hold selling prices down or lack of competition can allow higher prices than normal. Whether the operation try to increase profit by using low selling prices to increase volume or concentrate on higher unit profits with fewer unit sales. Budgets provide the framework for forecasting the need for supplies and labor, and they also cause the F&B manager to focus on specific costs for specific periods. They are also good because this requires the manager to look back at prior results very carefully and to analyze them to see why they happened the way they did. The budgeting process must be taken to ensure a high degree of accuracy, as the budget becomes a firstly strict rule of thumb for the operation. The first component which needs to be calculated is the revenue section. Revenue are the dollars which come into the operation through a variety of sources. The primary source of revenue is food and beverage sales to customers. We generally prepare budgets for specific time periods such as weekly, monthly and annually. Many of the costs such as property tax are annually expenses and need to be broken down and evenly allocated to different periods. Last but not the least, we will now discuss about few essential attributes of F&B staff. Each member of the F&B department needs to possess few important traits and skills. Knowledge awareness of one's responsibility and roles, appropriate knowledge of food items, food and beverage pricing, etiquettes and service styles is a great way to build confidence while serving the guest. Appearance. It creates the first impression on the guest. The F&B staff members must maintain personal hygiene, cleanliness and professional appearance while being on duty. Next is attentiveness. Attentiveness is paying sincere attention to details, memorizing the guest needs and fulfilling them timely with as much as perfection as one can put. Next is body language. The F&B service staff needs to conduct themselves with very positive, energetic and friendly gestures. Effective communication. It is very vital when it comes to talking with co-workers and guests. Clear and correct manner of communication using right language and tone can make the service workflow smooth. It can bring truly enhanced experience to the guest. Punctuality. The F&B service staffs need to know the value of time while serving the guest. Sincere timekeeping and sense of urgency helps to keep the service workflow smooth. Next is honesty and integrity. These two core values in any well brought up person are important for serving the guest in hospitality sector. So this was all about today's session. Hope you enjoyed the session and found it useful. Moreover, never forget that hoteliering is not just a profession, it is a lifestyle. Happy hoteliering. Thank you.